Tuesday morning, February 10th, 2026. Welcome to Coffee on the Porch. Weekly live stream. My name is Eric Folkerth. I'm a pastor, musician, activist, writer from Dallas, Texas. We are live on Substack for the next hour. Hopefully with our usual crew and anybody else who wants to come and join in. An hour-long conversation about spirituality, music, politics, life, all the stuff you're not supposed to talk about. Morning coffee break with people across the country. Welcome. Welcome, friends. Welcome. Good morning. I see you streaming in the room. Hopefully we will not have the issue we had last week. Let me fix this. I should have done that. These are things I always should do ahead of time. Hi. Put the guitar down. Welcome, y'all. Y'all, there's always a lot going on. I will tell you, right now there is significant stuff happening. Right now, there is an ICE, DHS, maybe state police raid going on in Oak Cliff, which I was made aware of about 20 minutes ago. So we have some pastors and at least one member from Kessler Park who are over there checking it out. I made the decision I was too far away to respond quickly. That's just obvious, I think. But I may get messages about, I may be more distracted than I often am trying to monitor this situation, and or maybe not. It sounds like they have gathered there and they are now heading out for some kind of action, some kind of DHS, ICE, state police action in the Wynwood area of Oak Cliff. So y'all, for all of you who are local, please be careful. Will you? Please be careful. It's not how I normally start Coffee on the Porch. I normally start with a very polite, hi, hello, how you doing? But this literally is happening as we speak, this raid in North Oak Cliff, and people responding. As I understand, there are 4 clear related clergy who are over there, and at least one member of Kessler Park, and some other community groups and activists, people, community organizers who are responding. And if I get any, I may have to pull away to try to understand what's happening. It could be that nothing else happens, that we just announce to you that this is going on right now. But it's sobering that we're going to talk about all this stuff in just a minute, as we do almost every week. But look, let's go ahead and start the regular broadcast. You are here at Coffee on the Porch. My name is Eric Folkerth, as I've said. This is a live stream that we do once a week here on Substack. There are all sorts of ways to get notified about this. If you subscribe on Substack, you don't have to pay, by the way, and hopefully you just all got in. It looks like you all got in this morning with no goofs from me. This is always a free broadcast, and frankly, all of my stuff is free. There is an option to contribute to the writing cause if you wish, but that's not required. And my point is, Substack gives you a little notification ahead of us going live and when we go live, so you can find that. Or, in addition, if you want to get nudged, we send a little text message through this form. You could scan that QR code or screenshot it for later or whatever, and go and find that and join us. Let me go ahead and say normal morning hellos to folks as you're rolling in the room here. Good morning, Cat Bird and Linda Waring up in Ohio, and Nancy Bryant from Fort Collins, Colorado. Debbie and Bobby checking in from Plano. Tara Lang down in Brownwood, and I see Rick later, I believe, wrote something. Good morning, Kathy Cowger. Good morning, Dan. I didn't get my water, y'all. This could be bad later. I may have to get up and get some water. How about those Seattle Seahawks? Good morning, Peg Davis. Good morning to the Whitakers. Good morning, Carol Dunn. Oh, boy. This is what happens when I get an emergency call. I don't think coffee is going to clear this up. Hey, Barry Jacobs. Good morning. I was thinking about you. Good morning. Good morning to my friend Richard Hearn. Richard, thinking about you a lot in the story you told me. I don't know how much of that story you're telling other people, but it's a powerful story. Good morning, Michael Wesley. Good morning, Sally Hoover. Good morning, Pam's. Lots of folks here. Hook 'em. Yes, sir. Good morning, all. Oh, nice. Oh, yay. Barry Jacobs, who is here, is the brother of my friend Bev Angel. And he is saying he was down at a house concert at Bev and Joe's house. They said, hello, amazing, the power of music to restore the soul. Yes, it is. Who was playing? Good morning, Deb Schrader. Welcome to you. I'm happy to see you here. Who was playing at the house concert? Curious. Well, as I've said, we have breaking local news here. Apologies to all of you who are far off, but 25 minutes ago, we got an urgent text that ICE and DHS were gathering over near our church in Oak Cliff. And it does... I am responding to one thing. Yeah. So it looks like they are out in Oak Cliff doing some kind of action. And look, there are allegedly some bad guys they're going after. There is clear documented evidence that the vast majority of people detained by ICE have no criminal records, certainly are not violent criminals of any kind or charged with any criminal charge of any kind. So this is why we're worried. This is the real life that we're in. This is the United States of America right now. And so thank you for tolerating. I'm always a little distracted, but it's probably going to be a little even higher than normal. Let's get ready with the normal reminders. I have music that I'd love you to check out while you're restoring your own soul in whatever way you do that. Enjoy the music. Find it wherever you find music. EricFolkerth.com is a great place to get a CD if you're into those, or stream it on your streaming program platforms, however you listen. We are continuing our series at Kessler Park. I should probably do this one about our new United Methodist Church, and we are going to be talking about leading courageously. That's going to be this week. This is our new United Methodist vision statement: love boldly, serve joyfully, lead courageously. And so we'll be talking about that on Sunday at Kessler Park. I want to remind families about Wednesday Night Live every Wednesday night with Pastor K in Roberts Forest. The weather is so ridiculous. It's weather that we should not be getting here in February. This is not February weather. I know I don't have to tell you that, but come and join the fun. If you have a kid or know somebody who has a kid in Oak Cliff, invite them to come. We have 65, 70-ish kids who come every Wednesday, and it's wonderful. Barry Jacobs said this: we watch Conejo Malo. Oh, nice. My wife is Puerto Rican. Oh, man. I know, right? Yeah, we're going to talk about all that. Amidst all the shit, God always gives us beauty. Draw strength from the beauty. Yes, please. Nurture it and it will spread. I'd like to believe that. I do believe that. I wouldn't just like to believe that. I do believe that. Thank you for that reminder, Barry. I appreciate it. Let's get right into it, y'all. What we do here is we gather, we take a little time out. We drink coffee or tea or crumpets or breakfast tacos or whatever your tradition is. I got myself my Onyx My Onyx Monarch, I think this is. I'm not entirely sure. Pour myself a big cup. And the question on the soul is the question on the soul. Well, it is the question on the soul. It's on our souls because it's the question, how is your soul? This is the question on your soul right now. How is your soul? Take a sip of coffee. Take a break. I need this myself. This is why I always need this myself, in addition to you all needing it. Take a break. Take a big sip and ask yourself that question. How am I? How is my soul? Leave a comment in the comments, and then we go back and we read those, and that's how we get started here at Coffee on the Porch. Tell us what has been inspiring to your soul, what is troubling to your soul. Leave a couple of comments. Good morning, Liz Moen. I don't think I said hi to you yet. I just dropped my pick. Oh, hang on. That's not good. Good, you're leaving the comments, talking to each other. That's good, y'all. Got to Santa Cruz today. Santa Cruz. This is my baby. Really is. Okay, y'all. Lots to talk about, I'm sure. Lots of things you want to say. I can see there are lots of things you are saying. Rick Lang says, my soul... Let me get my coffee. I got to get my coffee for this. Rick Lang says, my soul is good. Just been working. Well, man, that's nothing wrong with that. Michael Wesley is reminding us of their very cool in-person event. If you are near the, let's say, Grand Prairie / Duncanville part of the southern part of the county, join Michael and the good folks at his church for Pub Theology at Chili's, Grand Prairie, 7 p.m., 412 West Chase. Great pictures from the last time, and blessings and good luck to you. Good morning, Sally Homuth. I hope that's correct. Welcome. Sally Hoover says this. We were talking about music a minute ago. Barry Jacobs was just making this point, saying that music is restoring. And to that point, Sally Hoover says, I heard the St. Olaf choir last night. They were wonderful. They touched my soul greatly. Man, there's something to that, right? I got to remember that. Yeah. I got to remember to get up here and pick up these guitars. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't been doing it lately. Not as much as I should. Not as much as is good for me. Haven't been doing it as much lately. And I need to, I got to remember that. Good reminder to me. Tara Lang says this, my soul is okay, and on Thursday is the 1 year of my granddad's death. Big prayers for you, Tara, as you remember that tough tough anniversary. Carol Ann says this: my 8-year-old, 106-pound foster gold retriever is going to get a new forever home next Wednesday. His sweet soul will enrich their lives. Wonderful. What a joy that is. There's a nice little joy in the world. Thank you for being so kind to your foster gold retriever. Linda Waring up in Ohio says it's a little colder up there. Says, I'm happy to see the sun. We'll get recharged over the next couple days above normal temperatures. Then we will plunge into the cold again. Oh, Richard Hearn says this: off to an appointment. Keep the spirit going. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I'm glad you were here. I'm very glad you were here. I may go ahead and tell a little story about you in a minute, Richard. Be safe. Catbird says this: did not watch the game of halftime, but did appreciate Amy Martin's thoughtful post explaining the performance. Now I kind of wish I'd seen it, but I don't speak Spanish, so I wouldn't have gotten it anyway. Look, y'all. I don't know. You know, I've never asked Richard that, if he's related to Michael and Bill and all the musical Hearns. Lindy Hearn. There's a lot of musical Hearns out there. That's a good question. I don't know why I've never thought to ask that, Barry. Kat, hold that thought about not understanding it and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to come back to all that in a bit. And Swan says this: I've been watching the Olympics. They are inspiring, seeing people all over. The world is getting along and it calms my soul. Yeah. Sally Hoover saying she's not practicing as much either. Let's just commit to do that more, Sally, shall we? Barry Jacobs says this: I get juiced in the spring. Rebirth. The world is restored. Man, I am ready for it. I am ready for it. I need a little growth. We, as some of you may remember, we had that big cold plunge that just whacked the whole country. And we had ice on the ground here for a week, y'all. Ice, not just snow, but, ice that thick everywhere. And anywhere that did not get, that had shade from the north, it was really thick. There was I don't even know, 70, 80 feet of ice, 20 feet across outside the church for a week. Yeah, right in front of the main entrance in the back. Of course, that's where it would be. Michael Wesley says, got the chance to see Dave Morrison play this weekend, so got to be happy. Barry Jacobs says, that's who we saw. You saw Michael Hearn this weekend. And Sally says, you're on. Okay. All right. We'll practice. We'll practice more. I always can tell with a guitar, the thing that happens, you lose your calluses and your fingers tell you. Starts to get harder to, you can still play, but it's like losing muscle memory. Doesn't that sound good? Bobby is saying this: close friend has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, starting chemo. We're going to take care of their dog on Thursday, so can't make it to White Rhino. We're not going to be at White Rhino anyway, Bobby. We made a choice. White Rhino has been in the news lately. White Rhino made a decision to give ICE agents a first responder discount. And many people in the Dallas area, particularly Oak Cliff, were pretty upset by this. Good morning, Denise Shelnick. Welcome. Many people were upset by that, and there was a kind of a call for a boycott. And initially, one of their staff kind of doubled down and said, well, we do this for all first responders. Then many of us said, they're not really first responders, not really local police, not really firefighters. They may be law enforcement, but they're not first responders. And so, to their credit, White Rhino changed their policy, and I'm grateful for that. That said, the whole thing, we had a long, thoughtful conversation with a committee at the church, And we've decided to start rotating where we go. We're going to go to Cafe Olmo in the Elmwood area, which paradoxically is very near where this ICE action is happening this morning, paradoxically. We're going to go down there, a little bit farther south for us, but we're going to maybe rotate, is one of the thoughts, to go to several places that are really, really powerful local businesses that are doing good in the world. So, that's what I hope we do, and I think that is what we've kind of said we would do. So look for that. So we'll miss you. We'll miss you, Bobby and Debbie, but we wouldn't be at White Rhino anyway. We're not going to not go to White Rhino. We're going to put them in a rotation, okay? We don't want to punish them since they are, in fact, doing the right thing. But we thought, it gave us a conversation to say, well, there's a lot of places that we could support, and why don't we rotate? So that's what we're doing. Okay, nice crowd here. You're jumping on in. Thank you. Let me just tell you a bit about my week, which will get us into some conversation and some music, as we always do. First, I want to remind you of this event. This event was the Clear Clergy press conference that took place at our church at Kessler Park. Clear Clergy League for Emergency Action and Response. You see all of our clergy there, and some of our lay folks, some of Kessler Park and other lay folks as well. This event has turned out to be a really important event locally, and we are, I think, justly proud that we put this event together, and all credit to Nancy Caston, Rabbi Caston, who was the one who really said, shouldn't we have a press conference? And I think the rest of us said, yeah, we probably should. And the press showed up, and they have been reporting on this issue of the potential warehouse in Hutchins, Texas, ever since. As we've talked about for a couple of weeks now, ICE has a new plan to purchase 10 sites around the country and create mega detention centers. The proposed location in Hutchins, Texas, is the largest in the country currently proposed. So close to 10,000 beds, 9,500 people they believe they could put into this warehouse. So we clergy have been, I'm very pleased, really leading the charge for local journalists and local politicians to step up, which they have been. There have been other press conferences with politicians now. The Hutchins City Council has met twice. I believe I wrote you about that. I talked to you about that because it was last Monday when they met, and we were together Tuesday morning, and this is what I wrote in response to that. Hutchins restored my faith last night. They did. They restored my faith a little bit because that Monday was beautiful as the town of Hutchins really stood up in a beautiful, very organic way. These were not paid political actors. These were neighbors of Hutchins who just came to their city council and said, hey, we don't want this. And the mayor said, hey, nobody wants this. And so I just want to remind you of that. As I mentioned, there were other press conferences. On Wednesday, the Hutchins Council met in an executive session. And at the before that executive session, there was a press conference of other activist groups. LULAC was there. Several state representatives were there. I'm sorry if I forget. NAACP was there, and Clear was there. And there is George Mason speaking at that press conference. And that's me and some of our Clear clergy. We probably had about 10 of us. Again, I'm very proud of the way we are showing up as clergy. We don't control anything, but it's our job to ring the bell, sound the alarm, urge people, push people best we can to get involved in these sort of situations. So thank you to the Clear Clergy who came last Wednesday. And I got to tell you, we're in a really interesting moment right now as it pertains to that particular warehouse. So, hey, Kay. Good to see you, friend. No new news. I don't know if you've seen that. Kay is our associate pastor at Kessler Park. ICE has gone off to do their raids, and everybody pray. And look, there are bad guys out there. There are. But when the evidence shows that the vast majority of people ICE is detaining are innocent of any crime, then the public has the understandable and reasonable concern about what they are doing. And there's no transparency. As it pertains to these warehouses, there's no transparency. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But I'm very proud of how Dallas is stepping up, how the journalists are stepping up, how other folks are stepping up. And we're sounding the alarm on this. And here's the weird thing, and this is where we are as of this morning. So there is a list, which was several journalists, Washington Post, Dallas Morning News, many others have reported on, that list these mega sites. Dallas was one of the mega sites that was listed. Hutchins, a specific property in Hutchins owned by a company called Majestic Realty, LLC. Last week, the properties listed in El Paso and San Antonio both sold. The deeds were filed at the county courts, and we now know that ICE has bought those buildings for billions of dollars. A shockingly high amount of money that they paid, or millions, probably million. I don't know. I got to go look it up. Don't quote me. It was a lot of money that they paid for these places. What's interesting to us is that the Hutchins deeds have not been recorded. Majestic Realty and ICE are not commenting, and it does seem as if something is happening, but we don't know what. Is there just a delay in the purchase? Have they backed out? Has somebody gotten cold feet? We don't know. And the problem is they're not disclosing this the way the government normally discloses things. So it leaves the public to wonder what is happening. But we can say this deal is now slowed much more than other deals like it around. Now, there have been other deals in the nation that have been shut down by pressure on the companies. And what we're hoping is that's what's happening here with Majestic. There was a call that went out over the weekend for people to get in contact with Majestic, for people in California to get in contact with Majestic, to express their displeasure about mass detention sites. So we don't know where it stands. I wish I could tell you more. I'm going to explain to you in a moment why we don't know more. It's important that everyone understand that piece, why we don't know more. But first, let's talk about some joy. As Barry and others have already said, the Super Bowl was a lot of fun, and Bad Bunny was great. I've been a Bad Bunny fan. I kind of first encountered him through his SNL hosting. He's hilarious, actually. And he was the halftime Super Bowl, and congratulations to Bad Bunny for walking more yards during his performance than the Patriots got. Congratulations to Seattle. I don't know if our Seattle folks are here today. I don't think they are. Wow, that's unfortunate. We need to congratulate our Seattle folks. He sang mostly entirely in Spanish, said a few English lines, but he said this: English is not my first language, but it's okay. It's not America's first language either. Oh, man. And all the pearl clutching about how this went. Look, the other thing that got pointed out, and, the joke that I've heard is, I couldn't understand Bad Bunny's lyrics, but I can't understand Dylan and Pearl Jam either. Nobody understands what Eddie Vedder's saying. Nobody understands what Eddie Vedder ever. I mean, I love him, but come on, man. So, it's goofy to now be complaining about this, isn't it? It's probably more than goofy, but that's what I'm going to call it because I don't want to give it power. It's just goofy and stupid to complain about. It was a wonderful show. There was a lot of dancing in our house. There was, and we watched it 3 or 4 times now. It was great. It was joyful. I get what Barry said. I think every Hispanic, Latino person I know thought it was amazing and awesome, and I'm so happy for all of them and happy for our country. I'm happy for the NFL, that the NFL did this. I want to remind you of this to all the whiners and complainers. Let's remember, old cranky people have been complaining about new music for 60 years now. Young fans drop veneer of civilization for Beatles. What's the teenage revel in madness, they say. Teenage revel in madness. So just know the pearl clutching is not new. It may be newly ugly in terms of how it's coming out. I love these comments you're saying. Carol Ann's husband is a big Seattle fan. Barry pointed this out. His performance was so full of joy and righteous pride. I don't understand how anyone could be offended. Right. This is the inability to the inability to take joy in other people's joy. I used to know the word for this and I've forgotten. There's an opposite to Schadenfreude. It's Freud. Is it Freudenfreud? Taking joy in other people's joy. There's a twin word, and we all know Schadenfreude, but we don't know the other because we're so bad at it. We can't just enjoy other people's joy. It's ridiculous. And Nancy Bryant pointing out, would anyone insist on Pavarotti sending Nessun Dorma or Ave Maria in English? I got a Christmas album downstairs, Nancy, from the 1950s with Barbra Streisand singing Ave Maria. Yeah, not in English. To your point. Barry Jacob says truth, Nancy. Philistine's gonna Philist. Yep. That wasn't the only beautiful thing at the Super Bowl. Other people pointed out this from the remarkable Brandi Carlile and her performance of America the Beautiful. I do have to say, I saw more than a few commentators saying, "Oh, this is groundbreaking. A lesbian woman singing America the Beautiful." And I wanted to point out to everyone, hey, y'all, there's very good evidence that the woman who wrote it was also a lesbian. This has been cool for a long, long time. Okay, now I am frozen. I hope that is just behind the scenes and not something horrible here. Why am I frozen? Let's see if that comes back. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to trust that's just me. Yes, it's just me. Never mind. Anyway, the reality is that Catherine Lee Bates, the woman who is most likely to have written America the Beautiful, it was very credibly. Really? You lost the. Oh no. Okay, I don't know what happened. Sorry, y'all. I don't know what happened. There was nothing on my end to indicate any problem. I could see that it was goofy, but there's credible evidence to suggest that the woman who wrote America the Beautiful might have been a lesbian same-sex person with a same-sex partner. And, I've loved that story for 15 years, and I wrote an essay about 15 years ago, which I reposted and updated. I called it, this time, Make America Beautiful Again. I said this: last night with Carlisle, Bad Bunny, et al., there was plenty to remind us of what makes America good. And perhaps the beauty of America comes from the country's incredible natural landscape. Perhaps the beauty also comes through, dare I say, humility, kindness, and compassion, and art. Yes, let's ask God to mend our many flaws. In every generation, we have the chance to become beautiful again. That last line is a reminder that one of my favorite verses of America the Beautiful says, Not America, America, God shed his grace on thee. That's the line you know. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. One of the other verses that we almost never sing says, America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Yeah, which is what makes it our best national song, I think, because it self-admits that to be great, to be beautiful, to be good, we have to keep asking ourselves, we have to keep showing up in good ways in the present day. So check out that essay that I wrote this last, yesterday, I think I dropped it. All right, I am continuing to see, I don't know if this is just me. I'm afraid it may not be. I'm going to take a moment here to do some stuff behind the scenes. Apologies to all of you while I fiddle. But it looks like we might be frozen. Dadgummit. That's annoying. Let me see what I can do to help this situation. Are you there? I see no comments for about the last 10 minutes. Oh, boy, I don't need this today. I think it may just be my end. All good here? Okay, thank you. It's just me. Then give me a moment to talk amongst yourselves while I figure this stuff out. I can cut off a few things. Oh, come on. One moment, please. It's just me? Yeah. Okay, well, let me solve my own problem while you watch. Or hopefully solve my own problem. This is a part of why I got distracted ahead of coming on and I didn't get everything set up the way I often do. Let me go ahead and keep talking since it's just me. Let me tell you about other things happening. Many of you know we do a clergy-led vigil with Clear, our clergy group, every Monday morning. We are very pleased to announce to you that coming this week, we will begin to have a second vigil time. In addition to being there every Mondays at 8 to 10 a.m., and everyone is welcome to join us, there will also be a new vigil sponsored or hosted by the students at Perkins School of Theology. They're kids to me. Wednesdays, 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. That's starting tomorrow. So if that's a better time for you to go and hold vigil, then join them on Wednesdays, okay? Mondays, 8 to 10, and starting tomorrow, Wednesdays, 9:30 to noon. 9:30 to 11:30. What am I saying? All right. I'm still awfully slow here. I've done what I can, and I'm just going to trust. Hopefully this will catch up in a minute here. I think this will be better. Let me see what you're saying. Barry Jacobs says, the thing is always loved about the quintessentially American character is our impertinence to believe that we're all just as good as the world's richest lord. The flip side of that is because we're no better than the world's poorest beggar. Can't have one without the other. 100%. Yeah, there really is a weirdness to the American culture that tends to attribute constant goodness. That's what I love about our Methodist theology. We talked about our sense of love, that yes, we understand that God loves us, but we also understand that it's a lifelong process to become as we call more perfect. We never really get to perfection in this life, but we try to, our love in action, acknowledging that we all have flaws. Absolutely. And Swan notes this, which I have seen. There is a monument on the top of Pikes Peak. Has the words "To America the Beautiful." Yes, because that's where she got inspired for it. She got inspired for it up there on the top of Pikes Peak. That was the place that inspired that song. I am going to do this. I'm going to probably lose a lot of your comments here, and I apologize because it's still frozen, so I'm having to get back. So that means I'm going to lose some of your comments, and I'm sorry for that, but hopefully it'll fix my problem. Okay, clear vigil. Talked about that. Done. Let's talk about this a bit. What does it mean to lead courageously? What does it mean to be a courageous leader in this time? That's what we're going to be talking about at Kessler Park Sunday. I want to talk about these ICE raids, and I had this picture for you even before we got the word this morning about the raid happening in the Wynwood area of Oak Cliff right now. But I want you to look at this picture. As we get started today talking about something, I want you to take a very good look at this picture. These are domestic police. That's what these are. These are ICE DHS agents. They look like American military in some foreign theater of operation. They are not. What is happening here on the streets of America is a continuation of a process that has been underway for decades. The militarization of local police. This is, as our friends of color will remind us, something that has been happening for decades now. This is not new. Little bitty police forces in little towns have been buying SWAT vehicles for several decades. They've been starting to dress up in tactical units like this. We have shows like Dallas SWAT even that are on TV where you can watch local law enforcement officers like this all over the country. My point is that when in the hands of the federal government, a federal police force, not a local police force, is a dangerous thing, in my opinion. And that is certainly what we saw in the streets of Minneapolis. That is the point that the people of Minneapolis were making, that this is deeply unjust, the way that thousands of federal officers came to Minneapolis. Now, I talked to you a bit ago. What I'm going to do is draw a connection. I want to draw a connection here between what's happening in this picture, these armed federal agents that are going out into American cities. This is happening now in Minneapolis. It's happening right now in this second here in Oak Cliff. But I want you to understand that the federal government is using military procedures to do this. There are military authorizations to do this. DHS is absolutely an arm of the federal government. They are supposed to protect Americans. That's what they're supposed to do, not terrorize Americans. Certainly not murder people on the streets of Minneapolis. That's not their goal. Many of us here in Dallas have been wondering why we get so little information about what's happening in Hutchins. Why is it so opaque? The reason it's opaque is that DHS and ICE are using a non-standard procedure to buy this land. If they use their normal procedure, there would be congressional oversight. Journalists would be able to see what was happening. There would be a bidding process. Imagine that, where there would be bids and they would accept the the lowest bid, I suppose, for a property if they were going to buy a property. They're not doing any of that with these mega sites. This is what we understand. And this, I'm great credit to our friend Beth Erickson at D Magazine. And D Magazine has been a leader in reporting out this story. So I want to read what Beth has written this week. This was a post titled something like, "Why We Don't Know More About Hutchins." It says, part of the opacity results in the way ICE is purchasing this warehouse. ICE is using Worldwide Expeditionary Multiple Awards contract, the same one the Navy uses for this purchases. Because the contracts go through the Department of Defense, there's delay in releasing information, so it's harder to know what's happening in real time. Sophie Alexander, I talked to Sophie yesterday on the phone about this, and she confirmed that this is in fact what they're doing. Bloomberg News was one of the very first to break this to our attention, to the world's attention. We just need to understand that this is being done in secret. Now, all across America, police forces are more accountable to their citizens than they ever have been. Here in Dallas, we have a Dallas Police Review Board. The public has some ability. You can criticize what they do, but at least it exists. There's a process. Local police understand they are accountable to local cities and local citizens. What we have here with ICE is roaming bands of agents that are being sent from town to town, and properties for mega warehouses that are being procured through a non-standard procedure, through a military procedure, not a civilian, not a typical civilian procedure that should be used within the United States of America. This is new. We need to understand this is new. You need to understand the reason these buildings are just, these purchases are just popping up all over the place is they're trying to hide them. It's very clear. Journalists are very clear now that they are trying to hide them, and they are using Defense Department tactics. And so I just ask you as a pastor, is this what we want? Do we want military-style officers and actually military-style procedures on the streets of America? The NRA has talked to us about tyranny for decades. The tyranny of the government. Okay. My favorite meme in the last month has been an onion meme that says NRA accidentally forgets to rise up against government tyranny. That's kind of what it seems like, because that's what they said. For decades, they said, we don't agree in the tyranny of armed citizens, armed government on the streets of our country. But that's exactly what we have now. And they are buying these properties without the oversight of Congress or without the oversight of anyone. Everyone needs to understand this is a new time. Yes, police have been militarizing for decades. Absolutely. Yes, they've been terrorizing communities for decades. Absolutely. The history of policing is shot through this. We need to understand that part of it. But we also need to understand this is an acceleration. This is a shifting up into a new gear. This is like 10th gear on a 5-gear car. This is new. The scale of it is new. Warehouses to warehouse 10,000 human beings in Hutchins, Texas is new. That's larger than the largest prison in the United States. And remember, in prisons, people are convicted of actual crimes. Whether they got fair trials is another question. They went through a process. They were arrested. They were, theoretically, in most cases, let's assume, and they had a day in court of some kind, and they end up in prison. These detention centers, we know, press is reporting 60% and upward of the people they are detaining have no criminal record, have no encounters with law enforcement. They've never even been connected with law enforcement again. So is that what you want, America? Do you want militarized federal police on the streets of every American city? Is that what you want? Because that's what we have. That's what this government is planning. And make no mistake, it is not simply for the bad guys. They are not. Clearly not. Thank you, Barry. Barry, I'm trying to parse it a bit, and you can help me with this because Barry's very good with stats. Barry's saying 84 by ICE's own stats. What I'm suggesting, as I've understood it, the local number that Morning News is reporting locally, that's probably maybe the difference. They're showing 60% no previous connection with law enforcement at all. That's the number I'm interested in. We do have partners who say, quit talking about the criminals because then it justifies it. Okay, let's don't talk about the criminals. Let's talk about the innocent people. Let's talk about the people who have committed no crime other than coming to this country seeking to breathe free. Let's talk about that. And that number is somewhere between 60 and 80%, I suppose. Barry, give me some detail of what you're saying that 84% number is. That would help me. My understanding is that it's documented in the Dallas area that 60% of the people have no previous encounter with law enforcement. They've never, previous connections can include traffic ticket, 84%. That's 84% no criminal history. Okay, so 84% no criminal crime. That's the related point. The administration continues to say they're going to round up the bad guys. They continue to show you pictures of dangerous people. This raid today may be to go after somebody with a criminal record. I have no idea. But what we know is that these federal forces are rounding up thousands and thousands of people with no criminal history, no criminal conviction of a serious offense of any kind. We know that. Journalists know that. This is a known. And so is this what we want? Is this who we want to be as American? I've thanked Beth Erickson. Beth has been, D Magazine has been one of the local reporters who's really been on this. Oops. I don't know why I'm showing to be typing here. I'm not trying to type. Stop. Why was that? What was going on? Yeah, thank you, Barry. People who entered the country legally are being rounded up. 100% they are. The metaphor I came up with in our press conference, very simple. We should not store human beings like packages. We should not store human beings in warehouses meant for packages. We should not be doing that. That is inhumane to do that. DHS has responded and said, oh, no, these places, we're going to retrofit these places. They're going to be so nice. They're going to be like a 5-star hotel. They're going to be like Hotel Zaza. Really? They're still going to be inside the walls of a warehouse. It's a building designed for packages. That plain and simple. Plain and simple. And so the moral question I've been asking for 2 weeks since I first wrote that essay, no, we should not store people like packages, that's the question before us. Do we want to store people like packages? I'm very grateful that Beth Erickson at D Magazine wrote a wonderful essay yesterday, which I call your attention to now. Beth has said this, and I'm going to read the whole thing to you. Monday, February 9th. I've been writing about this country long enough to know there are always nearly multiple opinions on any one issue. You can see it playing out frequently in our comment sections and on our social media accounts. Dallas is not a monolith, neither is this country. Immigration policy, how this country carries that out, has become a flashpoint. We can point to the country's previous reputation, one so obvious that France gifted us the Statue of Liberty, and we affix it to a poem that famously talks about the huddled masses yearning to be free. Who exactly is welcome here has shifted repeatedly over the 250 years the United States has existed. But lately, it seems as if the list is rather slim and uncertain. But I'm not writing today about who should be allowed to immigrate here Instead, I'm writing about a tangential issue unfolding in our backyards and across the country. In Hutchins, it seems the federal government may plan to convert a massive warehouse used to store goods being transported across this country into a facility designed to hold people. But Hutchins isn't the only place this is happening. Cities across the United States are suddenly finding out that ICE plans to house detained immigrants in their community in facilities not built for that. Hutchins city officials says infrastructure for water, sewer, other hygiene needs for the 9,500 expected detainees is not present. There's some citations here. Other accounts from other cities, such as Surprise, Arizona, Orlando, Social Circle, Georgia, are repeating an increasingly familiar refrain. The properties ICE is choosing are not designed for human habitation. Imagine 95 people in a metal building with no climate control, insufficient running water, and no proper access to flush toilets and more. Imagine it during the coldest days of last month or the hottest days of last July. If this comes to pass, the monumental threat to public health will inevitably follow. It is also clearly against the Geneva Convention, which outlines rules for civilian internees that are detained, including requirements that they be treated humanely in all circumstances. She concludes with this. Regardless of how we personally may feel about immigration policy, and maybe I'm overly hopeful about this, I do think we can agree that creating a scenario where thousands of people are living without adequate access to things that keep them healthy and safe, like water, is not immigration policy, it's death policy. I still happen to believe we're better than that, and hopefully we will find a way to prove it. That's Beth Erickson from D Magazine writing yesterday. Thank you for that clear statement. It's inhumane, she's pointing out. Is this real? She's asking the same question I was asking. Is this really who we want to be, y'all? We have to ask that question. We have to ask that question. So this morning, as we said, some clear clergy jumped out and tried to understand, tried to see ICE at work in Oak Cliff. And the problem here is this, ICE. Here's the problem you have, and this is your issue. You have clearly violated the rights of so many people, so many thousands of people. You have clearly murdered people on American streets, that the public is right to question your every action. Even if you're going against an alleged bad guy now, we don't trust you. And when a law enforcement agency of any kind has lost the trust of its people, that is bad. That's a bad situation. That is bad. So on Sunday, I will tell you, yes, I support law enforcement. I certainly support local police. But I'm wearing a whistle, y'all. I'm wearing a whistle every Sunday with my robe. I'm not wearing a cross. I'm wearing a whistle now, to remind our people, our neighborhood, to remind Dallas and Oak Cliff that I stand with you, we stand with you, and we commit in the name of God to protect each other. And that's exactly what you saw this morning when you saw 4 clear members and one of the members of our church go to see what ICE is doing in Oak Cliff. That happened this morning. Just this morning, while we were coming on the air here for this live stream, we got that report that ICE was in Oak Cliff near the church. And so Clear responded to monitor it, and we will continue to do this, and we will do it more and more. And if they ramp up, we will ramp up our protection for our neighbors. That's what we will do. That's what we will do. And I will wear this whistle, and I will use this whistle as a pastor. I will wear it around my robe on Sundays to remind everyone who walks in the doors of Kessler Park that we stand for the protection of God's people, all of God's people. And we call for federal law enforcement to act justly and to reduce the fear and reduce the harm, not increase it. Let me read some of Barry's comments here People who had valid visas or followed the rules to apply for asylum are now being rounded up, sent to a hellhole in countries they'd never been to. I don't know what the 95 is that you're referring to, Barry. I'm sorry. I'm missing some comments, I'm afraid. Oh, maybe. Oh, there's a lot back here. Police have been lured into an arms race. No one wins an arms race. If you're scared, distressed, you're not. If you're not scared and distressed, Michael Wesley says, you're not paying attention. Marco Rubio described the Venezuela action to be law enforcement, not a military action, trying to acclimate us to this. 100% what they're doing. Good morning, Jeffrey Grizzly Bear Otterman. That's kind of a fun name. Good morning, Janie Henderson. Antoine just said this. About a month ago, I found out that here in Livingston, there's not only a death row facility, there's an ICE facility. Population is 5,000. Big prayers for you out there, Ann. You and Liz get together. Reference to Beth's article. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm headed to Momentous Institute to read with my reading buddies. I'll wear my whistle. I would encourage us all to wear whistles. Wear them all the time. Wear them all the time. Do what you can. I don't know. It's after 10:30. Should I do a song or not? I'm thinking I probably should step off and not do a song unless somebody says, go do a song real quick. We will be talking about what it means to be courageous. And I just want to say, this is what we're going to do at Kessler Park on Sunday. This third clause of our new vision statement. What does it mean to be courageous? What does it mean to lead courageously? And I will say in reference to this, leading courageously does not just mean being way out in front of the crowd. Not everybody is Martin Luther King. Not everybody can do what I am doing. Not everybody can do what Clear is doing. We understand this. But everybody can do one more thing than they have done. Everybody can be a little more courageous than they have been. That's what it means to lead courageously. And so we'll be talking about that on Kessler Park, at Kessler Park. My friend George Mason describes it this way. George, many years ago, George, as you know, I think is a dear, dear clergy friend, and George is one of our key leaders in CLEAR, the Clergy League for Emergency Action and Response. And George gave me a metaphor, and I don't know why I'd never thought about it, but it's beautiful and it's perfect. He says, pastors, he says, as moral leaders, this applies to all of us, but it especially applies to pastors. If you're trying to lead anyone, trying to urge people, it says if you're way ahead of them, if you're a quarter mile ahead, you're going, hey, come on. They can't hear you and they're not going to come. They're going to be comfortable where they are. If you're behind them, then you're using them as human shields and you're afraid, and that's not what you should do. To lead, you should always be one step ahead of your people. I think that's true. And as we become more courageous, whoever we are, at whatever level of courage we are, the more we become courageous, the more we understand, the more we can do. And it multiplies. It multiplies through our actions so that our courage multiplies through our action. So that's the message I would have for you today. Whatever you're doing, you can do a little more. If all you've done is talk to your neighbors, write a congressman. If all you've done is write your congressman, show up to a meeting of people who are planning. If all you're doing is showing up to a meeting, come out to a march. Rinse, repeat. There's always a next step. There's always a next step. And the courage we have comes from not being afraid, as it says on my arm with my tattoo. The angel said to them, fear not, in the biblical Greek. Trust that it will come through your hands. Trust. Man, this song, this is an old John Hyatt song. This is one of my favorite songs. This chorus I sing to myself. John Hyatt imagines sitting on a park bench, being visited by an angel. You were dreaming on a park bench about a broad highway somewhere, when the music from the carillon seemed to hurl your heart out there, past the scientific darkness, past the fireflies that flow, to an angel bending down to wrap you in her warmest coat. And you ask, what am I not doing? She says, your voice cannot command, but in time you will move mountains, and it will come through your hands. Through your hands. Still you argue for an option, and still you angle for your case, like you wouldn't know a burning bush if it blew up in your face. Yeah, we scheme about the future. Yeah, we dream about the past, when just a simple reaching out might build the bridge that lasts. And so you ask, what am I not doing? She says, your voice cannot command, but in time you will move mountains, and it will come through your hands. Through your hands. So whatever your hands find to do, you must do with all your heart. There are thoughts enough to blow men's minds and tear brave worlds apart, but there's a healing touch to find you on some broad highway somewhere, to lift you high like music flying through the angel's hair. And so don't ask what you are not doing, because your voice cannot command, but in time you will move mountains, and it will come through your hands. Through your hands. Through your hands. Through your hands. Woo! Yeah, I needed that one, y'all. I think that song was for me today. So whatever your hand finds to do, you must do with all your heart. There are thoughts enough to blow men's mind and blow brave worlds apart, but there's a healing touch to find you on a broad highway somewhere, to lift you up like angels flying through like music flying through the angel's hair. You can lead courageously. You can. Take the next step, whatever your next step is. Your next step is not mine, or the person's next to you, or the person's next to them. Everyone has their own next steps they can take. So, as I planned, I did do that song from the great John Hyatt. Thank you for the comments about that. Reminder about my music, of course, as I like to do. 2 albums out, just about a year old, both of them. 32 songs. You can find them everywhere. Get them in your car. Listen to them when you're driving. Listen to them while you're washing the dishes, working in the yard, whatever you're doing. I would love to be your companion as you are going about your daily life. Check out the music wherever you find music. If you like this gathering, Substack's going to send you a reminder, of course, when we go live, a little nut. If you subscribe, that is, if you are a subscriber, even a free one, you will get a reminder about this gathering. But if you want to get nudged about it 30 minutes ahead, I try to send this. And so, yeah, check out the form there, scan the QR code, take a screenshot of it for later, and we'll send you a little text nudge 30 minutes ahead of the gathering. Hey, John Altman, good to see you, buddy. Welcome, Loranda Eakin. We are just wrapping up for the day. Carol Ann is saying to us as we leave, love and strength to all this weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. All right, friends, thank you for being here. Keep the faith. Love boldly, serve faithfully, lead courageously, even if you're not United Methodist. Even if you are not in my faith tradition, find a way. Where did it go? I lost my graphic. Even if you are not in my faith tradition, find a way to do this. Find a way to love boldly, serve joyfully, lead courageously. Courage for you may just be one little step more. That's fine. We get more courageous the more we are courageous. That's the way it works. All right, friends. God bless you all. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Kat. Until next week, this has been Coffee on the Porch with Eric. Oh, thank you, Loranda. You know that song? Are you familiar with that? You got to check it out. John Hyatt, man. John Hyatt. That's a great song. I mean, that's a great song. That's a desert island song for me. All right, friends. Until next time, God bless you and keep you. This has been Coffee on the Porch. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.